stories about where first man and first woman had an argument, and it could progress to the point of where all of the women went to one side of the river and the men remained on one side of the river. And during that time, they indulged in perverted sexual behavior. And that's what brought into existence these things and that were considered evil giants. And so the story goes that the evil giants were actually living things. And the giants, of course, were beings that would destroy the mind, and it would destroy the heart, and it would destroy the body, and it would destroy the spirit. And these were the type of giants that the Seraph people, or the five-fingered being, or the Dene, had to deal with. And so the two boys, of course, acquired the weapons and that to destroy these evil giants. The story about the two boys and all of the other teachings and stories and that contain many symbolic teachings. And so you cannot look at any of the coyote stories or the emergence stories, the oral history stories, and the prayers, songs, ceremonies, and stuff without understanding that there are just many symbolic issues in that associated with the way that the teachings of our people are presented. So when we look at the teachings of our people in that way, we don't look so much for the actual physical existence of the red-haired giant or the existence of tall, large people that we could consider giants. Yes, there were giants in the land and in the country, but they are just people, just like the teaching that says they are also the children of the holy people. We have to understand that the symbolism in that are of a higher learning, and you have to understand that there are so many different ways to understand the symbolic presentations and that in the traditional oral history, coyote stories and the emergent stories and that our people tell. So it is that we have to understand things on a spiritual level to be able to see things in a spiritual way, to be able to hear teaching in a spiritual way. If you try to understand these things in a non-spiritual way, it's not something that's going to be acceptable to you, and you won't be able to comprehend the symbolism and that is being taught at a spiritual level. And that is a very important thing. And I think that when we as the Dene go into the sweat lodge and we talk about these things, that is the one thing that we have to understand, that there are things that can only be understood and received at a spiritual level. And so the symbolism and that of the two boys' journey to their father to acquire weapons and to come down and destroy the giants and that. And the giants are, of course, giants that are actually in our lives today. And so what are these real giants? People want to know. We are surrounded by these giants. All of us have individual and even many giants in our lives that we have to contend with. And those giants, of course, are such things as giant hate of goodness, giant ignorance, and then giant hate of liberty, giant hate of our fellow men, or the giant society of lawlessness and of giant disobedience, giants of greed. And there are just so many different giants in that we have to deal with in our lives, individual lives, and in society itself. The end game of all of these giants is actually to destroy us. And we can allow that to happen if we don't understand and comprehend the dangers that these giants in our lives are a threat to us. And they are here to mislead, to pervert, and destroy the things of goodness in our lives or in our environment or in our families or anywhere that we are living as the five-fingered being, as a surface being, or as the human being. And that's what these giants in our lives. And that's the big symbolism in that. That's so very important to understand in the story of the two boys making their journey to their father to acquire weapons, and the weapons are here. And it is that we have access to these weapons. One of the main ones, of course, is prayer. Prayer are very personal.